anytime you get in traffic and you feel road rage, anytime somebody cuts in front of you, sometimes, you may be late, running late for something. You may feel pressure. You may walk into a room and feel some negative vibes. You may come around some things. They may crack jokes that you really weren't in the mood, etc. Whenever you feel some type of way and you feel out of place, your body will produce what's understood as a cortisol hormone. And then you have others like, adrenaline, epinephrine, but cortisol is a stress hormone. When your body produces something of beneficial value must go on decline. Key, what I'm about to talk about is magnesium. Magnesium, chromium, zinc, and potassium. Now, when you have stress, overwhelming amounts of stress that you're afflicted with, well, your body is going to have a two-phase state or tendency with dealing with it. Because the second time, the second phase is worse than the first phase. When you feel stress, your body in that moment, right, within milliseconds, this process, a chain reaction, what you have is electrons start to separate from sodium atoms in the body, right? Your sodium atoms in the body carry electrons, and these electrons are charged. They need to create a covalent bond with, well, we learned about protons, neutrons, and electrons in middle school, high school, right? So these things, electrons need to bond with something. So when these electrons separate from the sodium atoms that are naturally occurring and naturally found in your body, you have volatility. You have electron that is now floating around in your system, and it is volatile. It is unstable. The closest thing that it can create a bond with, a ionic bond, if not covalent, is, what was it?
When it's bonded?
Chloride.
Chloride.
Chloride. You have a natural amount of chloride. You have a natural amount of fluoride as well in your body. But that's almost what I want to talk about. And the fluoride pertains to the iron. So information. So chloride creates a bond with the sodium electrons. Are we still?
Yeah.
The feed is getting my audio and everything?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to pause and check because the app sometimes it might. All right, so the sodium atoms, these electrons, right, that came from sodium, create a covalent bond with chloride, which turns into sodium chloride, right? And that is upregulated to ACL, NaCl. Is the form of the most inorganic salt that can be produced. Your body goes through a natural process whenever you feel stress to produce the most inorganic salt in your body. This is a chain reaction at rapid levels. And it dumps it where? Into the bloodstream. And that causes your blood pressure to rise, just like any other sodium would do. You have healthier profiles of sodium, however, that have complements for your blood, complements for vasodilators, complements for cardiovascular. But NaCl is an inorganic salt that you find at the hole in the wall Chinese food restaurant most of the time. Okay? I'm sorry, but Man, some of those restaurants get the MS. They put MSG throughout all the fried food. That rice, man. Listen, up in New York, out in Philly, out in Cali, they eat that rice up. That shrimp fried rice be so good, but you MSG, and then you got the sodium that actually excites your brain. You know, this is why sometimes the stress levels, people are so happy to kind of pop off on somebody in the middle of traffic. It's excitement, dopamine. It actually has a sensationalization feeling in the brain, like, oh, adrenaline's about to pump, and like heavy metal guitar starts playing in the mind. It's like theme music. It's like WWE when the Western wrestlers come out. Like some people get angry and they get excited, and this is one of the faculties that contribute towards that. But whenever your body creates this condition, right? Whenever you feel out of place, you feel stressed, your brother, your sister, or your best friend say something that you really don't like, or they make fun of your shirt and you really shirt, that in that reaction happens within milliseconds and your blood pressure starts to rise. But when that NaCl gets introduced into your bloodstream, all of the healthy nutrients that you have in your bloodstream, keeping everything in check, that are naturally working as cofactors for the enzymes, as substrates,
They're gonna get.
they get oxygen. Salt is what? And it acidic. It's not alkaline like calcium. This is sodium.
You
This is
actually cut
sulfur.
out for 1 second, really quick there. You said they get oxidated,
Yeah, the healthy nutrients get
vaporized.
oxidized away.
Yeah. Wow. We said it at the
They
same
get
time. That's
they,
crazy.
they get oxidized away because this is sodium. This is a profile. This is the most inorganic profile of sodium. This is sulfur. Sulfur. And the same thing. This is why we talk. This is why it's so important to talk about. We talk about sulfur. Everybody out there that's insane, that sells fake sea moss, is selling people sea moss that's farmed and saturated in what? Sulfur. Sulfur. That the most inorganic salt that you can actually find in the ocean.
So for
Also
those
sulfur.
so for those that have just joined in here, we're breaking down the high risk and the chemical reactions that just stress alone does on your body, and a nice segue with how dangerous this a similar but different process with fake carrageenan that's developed in fake waters. When you want to talk a little bit about what's different and what happens differently as opposed to, I mean, we know how amazing CMOS is, even though we're going to talk about Prondis some more as
Right.
well too. But that fake, I talked to him about the pool raised, shallow water on a string to
It,
synthesize
it's
nature.
so important to understand because I'm looking at right now, right?
Mm.
The composition, right? Where we have 17 micrograms or nanograms. Um, I forget the actual recommended dosage of sulfate. I know it's a certain number of nanograms per deciliter, but when you have naturally, right, in the Chondrus crispus, 17 milligrams per 100 grams of dry weight. So of sulfate. Sulfate. Now, sulfur is the most inorganic. Sulfur is present as the most inorganic sulfate. This is why that sea moss from St. Lucia comes so heavily caked with all that. It's from the inorganic sulfate that they use. They try to mimic most sulfur, right? That's organic, that comes from the ocean. Um, is is naturally occurring. But when you have inorganic sulfate, you have inorganic salts, and you have something that could really, really be bad for your nerves and your ventricles, your veins, your arteries, and your blood pressure, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nutrient profile as far as staples being in circulation throughout your body because they don't survive very long in blood that's convoluted by sulfates or stress hormones, which would be basically the same. You know, people can actually eat some food that's heavy in this type of stuff and walk away kind of mad because the isometric structure is actually similar to the stress hormones that they would naturally produce if they got mad. So it's like get
Wow.
mad, but through the back door.
Oh my
You're
gosh. That's
getting the
unbelievable.
hormones that would create anger by eating something that's similar to the composition of these hormones. So you get mad later on after you're done eating. You don't even know. You know, your girlfriend comes home, you feel like terror. You feel like causing some smoke because
Yeah.
it's literally in the food.
It's in the, wow, that's unbelievably tragic.
No, don't let it be something like that with animal protein. You know what I'm saying? Like that actually could be convoluted by the cortisol and the stress hormones that the animal was going through, and that's a whole different conversation. But I'm gonna pass it back to you. What do you want to
Yeah,
go on
no,
to?
I
What's the
appreciate
next?
that. Phenomenal answer. I really love how thorough my bro is over here, man. We gotta make sure and touch on a lot. So we talked about elements versus minerals. We talked about several ways that the body is taxed, and we were talking about stress and oxidative stress. And when it comes to the body being stripped of minerals, there are several things that disrupts the process of healing, right? And the
Mhm.
actual point that we were on was how immense inflammation, oxidative stress can even mess with the cell life cycle. We mentioned the possibility for increased mutations, free radicals can go
Mhm.
wild, right? And
Yeah.
a simple mineral like magnesium. Thank you so much. First of all, actually, before I finish this question, shout out to all of y'all that got us over 1,000 people in the room. I don't know if y'all caught
Oh
that.
yeah.
We still have
Notice
eight.
what?
Yeah, we got
What?
800 people in the room. We've had over 800 people in the room for like over 10, 15 minutes. If everybody could just do
Oh wow.
one favor and
Oh,
tap the screen on Zen Plans Green, I would be forever grateful. And thank you to everybody throwing gifts to heat this room up right now. You know I love y'all, and I'm gonna come on back and show some love too. This is a
hey,
huge
dude.
session we got going on. So we were on this point. So guys, and of course, when we go over this on the YouTube recording, I'm going to break down a lot of the science that we're covering. I am grasping
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
85, 90% of what my bro is kicking. And even I am going to have to research a couple of terms and stuff that he's using here and breaking down for us because, like I said, it's thorough and it's on a chemical level. It's on a chemistry. We're talking chemical
Yes.
affinity. Your body has a resonance with certain things. And we talked about how it's mostly carbon. Thank you. Number 7 on the heat list. Thank you all so much. And, so we were on the dangers of stress, oxidative stress, and then how magnesium can help with adenosine triphosphate as well as the apoptosis, which is the beginning and the end of the cell life cycle. I saw you mention apoptosis, I think, in the last 2 weeks on FB, a post or two. How important do you think magnesium alone plays? I know they talk about iron as the most important mineral that we need to get. How important do you think magnesium is? I've heard it's used in hospitals and in a lot of different ways for our health.
90% of America is dealing with a magnesium deficiency right now. Magnesium is needed for more than 300 different biochemical reactions in the body.
Wow.
Magnesium is integral with nerve health of your central nervous system. It preserves the myelin sheath, which is the first defense from neuropathy. When you look into exacerbated hypoglycemic diabetic conditions, most of my clients who have diabetes, um, their main issue is approaching predispositions for neuropathy because of the uncomfortable pain that comes with that. And when they take magnesium supplemental, um, the uh, the inoculation of like when I tell them, when I give them herbs, right, to restore the different multitudes of magnesium that they would need, magnesium derived ion, um, uh, you have a lot of the attenuation of that pain. Magnesium can drop your cortisol levels that I was just talking about. That's actually a very good point to make as well, because remember everything that I just talked about. The stress levels going up, cortisol, the inorganic salt, that's the oxidizing magnesium, right? It's
No.
it's it, it's basically that's the first trace nutrient and mineral to go when you're stressed, magnesium. When you down after that, and then say for instance you get angry again, say for instance cortisol levels go back up again, you won't have the magnesium that was there initially to calm the effects of the cortisol in the bloodstream.
That's bad.
Then that's the time when people get mad and they can't even cool down later on. Like they got angry toward down because not only did the magnesium that was staple to calm their blood pressure or their nervous system from going crazy, it's now oxidized away. It's no longer there. So it's like the thing that was to regulate and keep things in order, to, rope things and bring it back in, is no longer there. Magnesium is that precursor. And
So, so if anybody's pressed for time, because we're gonna go more, but people are gonna come in and out, and I just like to get certain summaries in there for them. How's one of the best ways you think to get magnesium when it's depleted? She just asked at the same exact time I did. I have read about magnesium oils from the salts, from the Celtic seas, from the Szechuan seas. I mean, that you can get the salt off the seas and they turn it into a magnesium oil, as well as, of course, our green, leafy green, cruciferous vegetables.
oh yeah, you can have pumpkin seeds. One of my favorite sources of magnesium is pumpkin seeds, in fact, because it's really good for the prostate and it's anti-parasitic. It's like one of the snacks that I eat. Some people don't like pumpkin seeds though, but what you can find is, I believe Sargasms has it. Hold on one second.
Yeah, take your time. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in with us here. 40K Flame, 400 people. I just want to touch lives. I just want more people to know the truth. I'm so glad my bro is on Bigo. This is just the beginning of a new era. Do you know? Nah, you're looking that up. I won't ask you another question. But I wonder if he knows Native in Years. We gotta just grow this community. Thank you, Cubanese. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Rasta. Thank you, everybody tapping the screen, sharing the live, telling a friend to tell a friend that Zen is reminding you the body can heal itself, and alkaline foods and alkaline living can help. So, we talked about some important processes. Raw pumpkin seeds is fine. I believe you can definitely eat it raw. But you can also toast it if you want to like put it in the oven or leave it in the sun, whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah, the sea moss has it. Conjures has it.
Has to make magnesium, right?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. 600 to 732 milligrams per 100 grams of dry weight. That's actually one of the more abundant trace nutrients in there.
I was just gonna say that's a lot.
Makes sense because magnesium is a cofactor for like over 600 different nutrients. That's another thing. It's almost like a universal key in the body. It's a cofactor for almost everyone. Like it's a cofactor for molybdenum. It's a cofactor for vitamin C. It's a cofactor for iron. You also have, when going back to iron, you have the cofactors of vitamin C, vitamin A, B complex as well, B12 in particular, vitamin C, vitamin A.
Are women usually more deficient in magnesium because of like cycles or anything else?
Yes, when women have, that graduate into menstruational cycles, they can release a lot of that menstruational blood that is supposed to fortify the menstrual tissue. And the main trace nutrient that they is copper, iron, magnesium, zinc, and chromium. So when you have a lot of women that live lifestyles through their 20s and their 30s, unknowingly losing every month staples of their trace minerals and nutrient profiles that are necessary for just feeling okay. Women will graduate to early predisposition of pancreatic complications when they get into their late 30s and early 40s because the pancreas utilizes chromium to produce insulin. And that's why we have so many black women in the black community and women in America in general with diabetic conditions in their 40s and their 50s more so than men. We have a large offset of women versus men that have pancreatic complications in their approaching middle age years because so many women live their lives without the proper education, without men that can properly administer to them and give them the energy and the information and the light that they need and the clarity that they need. Even on an institutional level, they're not teaching our little girls this stuff in school or in sex ed. I don't believe so.
No,
Um, because a lot of grown women are, they live their lives unresolved as far as these issues go, and a lot of women don't know that they're losing very important macronutrients and trace minerals every month, minerals that which most women do not replace.
could
So
could that
yes, CMOS should be, you know, repetitious. It should be, a staple. It should be a routine
a
thing.
culture?
You don't need, when you look at uronic acids, linolenic acids, neutral sugars, the carrageenan profiles, we're gonna get into some of the other amazing aspects of this algae. And
Yes,
one thing I
because
would like to talk about is H3O2.
yes, okay, H3O2 and Cronus. That's what's on the plate. Last thing on the mineral deficiencies with the loss of blood, not just magnesium, but that manifesting into several different types of issues, right? The possibility, just like a yes or no on like the possibility for like psychological issues, mental, emotional instability as well too, from not replenishing what's being lost, something that Cronus can support. I mean, of course, there's trauma, in life, but the mineral aspect of that could be dealt with by replenishing what's lost that time.
Well, I'm not tweaking my face because I don't believe that trauma is the main reason. I do believe that is one of the plights of living life, especially here in America for women and men. I don't believe that women, um,
Welcome, goddess
I don't
Brandy.
believe that women get additional level of defense and protection from this type of stuff. The discernment again goes back to the information that we get downloaded into our minds, the TV commercials, the just the radio and music and all kind of other group think, what we see other people eating, and the Popeyes chicken sandwiches, all these things. But all right, so what I'm thinking about usually when you ask that question, the first thing that I think about is um lifestyle. Okay, I don't really think about um nutrition predisposition that much because I know for a fact that the first one of the first reasons for mental instability, inconsistency in mood, hostility, any kind of mental degeneration, this stuff comes from a work lifestyle that's stress induced and also basically barely allowing the woman to get access to natural circadian rhythms. Let me tell you the implications of this. Because so many women are trying to abide by that was not naturally designed for them. You see, a woman get, her menstrual cycle 13 times per year, right? And that's based off the moon. And when we abide by the Gregorian Earth man-made time schedule, timekeeping schedule, we actually are bifurcating ourselves away from the natural elements of the circadian rhythm. Let me explain what I mean. When you have a woman that is potentially, you could say, 25 to 35, she could be a mother or not, doesn't matter. It actually would probably be more prevalent if she's a mother because the body of a mother actually requires more staples from nature, more concessions to be paid, right? This is why women that are so after post pregnancy still have an increased appetite. Okay, they need more nutrients from their caloric intake. That's what that's all about. Period. Because they have very important faculties that they need to produce and need that come online. And sometimes they need to get revved up. The engine needs to optimize things before it starts, before she starts lactating and doing things like that. But anyway, the deprivation of natural sunlight is what I'm getting at here, people. The sun is needed. It's integral for you to function properly mentally. The reason why is because we have different types of melanin. Melanated people and non-melanated people both have it. Okay, even if you're not, we're not talking. This is not a conversation about pigments and skin. Because what we have when we talk about pigments of skin is eumelanin and pheomelanin, both authenticated forms of melanin. All right, you have Kid from Kid and Play; he has pheomelanin. Minister Louis Farrakhan, they look mixed, they look, light skin. Whatever, it's an authenticated form of melanin, right? Even you have people who are not in descent that still have melanin. right? They have some profiles of melanin. You have Eskimos up in the north that don't get any sun exposure, but they're tan just like me. Why?
Facts.
Because they get vitamin D from the algae, from the sun, from the sun is locked into the chondrus. That the conversation. They get it from the whale blubber. The whales get their vitamin D from the algae. That's a whole different conversation. And we get our pigments mainly because of being exposed to UVB, where we come from. Our genetics naturally derived from the equator, where the tropical regions were. So our DNA produced melanosomes, which increased our pigment fortitude in our skin. Eumelanin is very necessary to thrive in Earth, on Earth, period. Indication of indigenous humanism. But we have a different type of melanin called neuromelanin. And this is very important. It's more important than its importance is more than that of the eumelanin or the pheomelanin. And people don't talk about it at all. Because this has do with the way your thought process is anchored. When we have neuromelanin that is convoluted by heavy metals, because we eat a lot of seafood, we eat fruit, we eat fish, we eat crab legs, we eat shrimp, we eat salmon. When people switch out from animals on land to animals in the sea, they say they're pescatarian. I'd say, look, you're really just making a trade-off of what? Uric acid, ammonia, um, you know, for mercury and parasites, because seafood has more parasites than land animals. In fact, in actuality, people worry about pork. Is that actually you got more potential getting parasites from tilapia than eating pork.
I'm so
Actually,
glad
I,
you said
I,
that.
I think like pork is like the big dog. Like that's the King Bowser of all worst, you know, uh, atrocities that you could consume. But parasites is one thing people try to talk to me. People constantly ask me about. But anyway, going back to the woman and her mental state and why she may feel out of place and she may feel in the world and not conducive for her, and she might feel like she's and everybody's just creating making giving her a hard time. you know it's because of the lack of sun exposure. We live in America, right, where the slogan is go out there and get you a 9 to 5, go and get a job so you can make money, you can pay your bills, and you can stop complaining, right? They want everybody to just go to work. Okay, America told us from little kids to go up to get an education so you can get a place in the corporate ladder and you can get a good earning salary. And that's the way most people go. It's an honor. There's nothing dishonorable about that. All right?
Mhm.
An honest day's work is always an honorable thing. But what we have is a slogan that tells us to get a 9 to 5. They tell you to get a 9 to 5, not a job. They tell you to get a 9 to 5. It's interesting that they use that particular time frame that they want you to work, because
It's,
when you look at most of corporate America, most of institutionalized America, we have people going to work during the 9 to 5 time. And during that time, they are inside a building, they're inside an office, or they're still at home. They're working from home. A person that's lucky out to me works out in the sun, in the elements. They do delivery or something, you know? Because when you study the human anatomy and the 11 different systems, and you study the neuromelanin that I mentioned, we have a lot of convolution with this neuromelanin and its functionalities. The neuromelanin is essential for keeping the different phases of thought patterns. the different vibrations and the synapses and how neurons connect and constitute thought processes. When that gets convoluted by heavy metals, it gets dirtied up by heavy metals. We need something that it out of the neuromelanin. And yes, you can chelate heavy metals out of your blood with chlorophyll, kale, uh, even sargassum, cracked cell chlorella. Okay.
Chelation, really quick. He's going off, y'all. Okay, chelation, really quick, is having to do with, like, when we talk about autophagy, cellular regeneration, homeostasis, ketosis, and that type of stuff. Okay, guys, when we're activating the body's regenerative abilities, right, bro?
Yes, absolutely. It activates healing modalities, and autography is one of them, and you have a lot of heavy metals that get chelated through there. But you have very oxygen rich substance, supplemental things that you can take that can bind to these metals and help them be escorted out of the body. But what happens is the neuromelanin, it requires something different, which is also known as cobalamin. Okay, cobalamin is also known by the alphanumeric B12. B12 is a nutrient that is actually an organism, in fact, and it is produced from sun exposure. What if I told you, right, that they tell you to get your B12 beef or the cow because the cow has a higher amount of it. And the process that the cow uses or has within them to produce it is the same exact process. My bad, I just shared the live. This is the exact same process that you have in your body. The only difference is you're inside an office all day, but or from 9 to 5 when the sun is out, giving very important spectrum throughout the different circadian rhythm, the different hours of the circadian rhythm. The sun is outside. You're inside. The cow is outside, getting all of that sun. And the natural modalities to produce cobalamin and B12 and all of these different organisms and nutrients and these different isometric structures or hormones in the body to work in tandem with these glands or these cofactors, you have it, happening naturally in the cow that's outside on the green pasture. We are inside a building 9 to 5, not getting natural sunlight that biologically embed. We're getting artificial light that does not biologically embed. And as a matter of fact, it can make you crazy if your epidermis gets too much exposure to it and you try to vitamin D3 system that's all off. Now your vitamin C system starts, and when that vitamin D3 system stops producing optimal amounts of vitamin D3, even from minuscule amounts of sun exposure, your vitamin D system starts to lose integrity because your vitamin D3 system is constituted by your vitamin C staples. A
So,
lot of people don't know that they like I had a lot of clients who were diagnosed by a doctor with vitamin D3 deficiency, but they had no clue how because they get sun exposure, literally drive a bus, get sun exposure every day, but they don't know that the actual systems are off for producing vitamin D3 are offline because they're deficient in vitamin C. Vitamin C is the natural bioavailable form, not the ascorbic acid. That's from
lysosomal.
brings back the vitamin D3 production online.
So so exactly. You can't even do the process of taking that UVB from the sun and making vitamin D properly if you're already toxified, heavy metalled up, deficient, and dealing with other things in the body as well, right? Now just
If you if you're not getting the proper sun exposure during the right time,
during the
and you
right.
also don't have fruits in your diet that contributes bioavailable amounts of vitamin C. And there's a whole nother conversation of why vitamin C is integral for your vitamin D3 production. But
He's
basically, yeah.
he's so elite for the cofactors and the complementary you need certain things in your body to metabolize and and create synthesize certain things that you need, so they work in tandem. And that's why I say it's so important to eat the rainbow, break your fast with fruit. You take the Zen Moss challenge, you'll feel such a difference. I want to ask you so many questions. I'm going to do a quick game of yes or no for 2 minutes. Thank you guys all for watching. I know for one or two of y'all, it's a little bit past the time you're usually rocking with us.
And real
Yeah.
quick, before you ask these questions, you're right. Most people don't know that you need cofactors for you to absorb iron. You need B12. For you to absorb calcium, you need potassium. You need um, magnesium. You know, for you to absorb um, for you to absorb iron, you actually can't have vitamin E. A lot of people don't know that the cofactors are very necessary. You can't have one without the other. Otherwise, you load up on something that you cannot use.
And that's
You know,
why vitamins don't work and they create inorganic buildups. They help a lot of these things people are taking create calcifications in their body because
mess.
they're waste. Yeah, vitamins are a G and a waste because if you extract a portion of it, you're destroying the whole purpose. It's just a marketing
Yes,
ploy to say I
it's
took a
supposed.
piece of this and put it in here. When truth be told, I didn't even taking a piece of it is practically taking none of it, right?
Yeah, it's like they isolate one part of the orchestra, like the actual orchestration. It's supposed to be a concert. It's supposed to work together. Like the composition of the poppy seed has opium in it, right? But when they extract the opium outside of the poppy seed, it's now volatile, it's inorganic, it's isolated, and it's a opioid. It's now something that can be considered a drug. But if you eat poppy seeds, it's harmless. The opium's inside the poppy seed, but when you eat it, it's not going to harm you. Why? Because it has other nutrient profiles or structural components that are accommodating that opium concentration that neutralize the effects of the opium. This is what Dr. Sadie talked about when it came down to chemical affinity with the food gene consistency and what you put in your body. This is also why it's easier people to understand the necessity and the true understanding and foundation of sea moss, because sea moss, especially with the type of algae that we're selling, brother, and the types of creations, herbal botanical creations that we're producing from our understanding that we're dedicating ourselves to do, that you don't see many people applying themselves to truly understand this language and conveying it to the people. It's like, come on. If you're a herbalist, if you're a person in the holistic community, why wouldn't you want to do that?
They're
You
not
can
doing the
tell that
real
you're
work.
seeing people for money. But when you look, I'm looking at right now, a list of nutrient detailed with amounts and units and reference of the composition of different proteins, carbohydrates, neutral sugars, sulfate, chronic acid, omega 3s, ALA concentrations, dietary fiber, soluble fiber, lipids, uh, all kind of different macronutrients, from calcium to magnesium, to iron, to zinc. Some of these I can't even recognize the abbreviation off the top.
Yeah.
Cobalamin is in here. Vitamin C is in here. You have a great deal of very, very rare periodic table of elements in the Chondrus crispus. And this is what Dr. Sadie talked about when it came to chemical affinity. Chondrus crispus would be the cornerstone, the precipice. It would be the crown jewel. It would be the cap on the top of the pyramid when it comes to all the different herbs, because you've never seen a diversity in a composition like this.
I'll be
It is
telling
a
them.
complete concert. It is a complete
I'll be telling them.
360-degree holistic addressing and attenuation of any deficiencies, because whether you're deficient in iron, magnesium, cobalamin, zinc, or potassium, uh, K1, you have the ability to ameliorate those deficiencies just by taking it, because it has a concert of different nutrients. It's literally like the Power Rangers from the old school, the Power Rangers from the new school, and the ones with the dino, the special Power Rangers with the dinosaur mechs. Like
Yeah.
all three of those different genres of Power Rangers one. That's an unstoppable team. It's a bad analogy, probably, but anyway, I'm
No,
gonna
it
pass it
nailed
back
it.
to you, brother. But you got, it's a
Okay.
team. It's any cartoon that you watched, like the
So
whole gang was there.
so Crondis is no, absolutely, absolutely. This is why I'm excited because you're literally giving so much confirmation as to why I put so much emphasis on Crondis. From the thyroid, I've seen clients who could not move and their energy be so affected to get their whole life back. I've had clients with kidney issues. I've had clients with bone issues just coming from car accidents, and other injuries, recovering. We've talked about the recovery boost. We've talked about for the skin. I myself suffered from terrible dry skin, as far as like even more like a dermatitis type eczema thing, with like the splitting and the red inflammation. And Crondis has just changed my life and so many lives of all the types of situations that I just discussed. People don't get that there different there's different types. Can we talk a couple of facts on not just CMOS, y'all? Cronus crispus is a very elite type of CMOS. And I do have that yes or no questions. We're going to come back to that round of yes or no, but we're going to talk Cronus real quick. Are there different kinds of Crondis, as far as like the gold Crondis, the Peruvian Crondis, and whatnot?
Oh yeah, oh yes. That's been a conversation I've been reluctant to have. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I saw like seven different kinds, or I think I saw a bunch of different variants for Crondis. I was like, is this real? Like, this is crazy.
Well, yeah, you do, because we have a lot of different aspects in the ocean. But the thing is that really makes the distinction is the location. Location. Congress is an obligate metabolizer of the ocean constituents. The bioavailability of all the nutrients are found in the ocean. When you look at the aquamarine behind Chondrus crispus, you see that it's a cold water algae. Um, you do have a lot of different forms of chondrus that can mature and grow. But it does not grow in the warm water. When it grows in the warm water, it changes its genomic composite. It changes the way it grows because of the pigment systems.
Yes.
Um, and that out there in warm waters, like out there in Jamaica, what you find is a real moss. Like that's like I can show you what it looks like. That it looks like it looks like the most thinnest version of those bundles right there. Look like Gracilaria at all.
Yeah, they do.
It looks like a real moss. Like when Chondrus grows in warm water, out there like around moss, it grows in a bushy, very bushy type of profile, and that just goes to show you, you know, the pigment systems of Chondrus. You know, that's actually behind the etymology of the name. You know, Chondrus crispus is also called curly cartilage, and it dictates the way that it grows. It has very unique pigment systems that dictate the way that it grows, but those pigment systems are also responsible for its nutrient profiles, its ability to harness most of the nutritional bioavailability in the ocean. It's mainly due to its pigment systems and the way it simulates a bond with base metal, base minerals, base
Focused
minerals.
on my freedom now.
When you
Why would
look
I
at the
join them when
whole
I know that
fast
I can beat them
process,
now? They put their words on me.
ion transferring, electron transferring bond, where you look at the whole fast, it's called, Dr. Sadie called it iontrophoresis verification, where you have the stepping up of some of these trace minerals, and some of them is stepped down. Your human body, but Chondrus crispus, right? It can have variety from its location in the water, the temperature it's exposed to in that water, and also its um, its exposure to sunlight in the water. Okay, because what we have in the Chondrus crispus are phytosensitive materials, right? And basically, when people put it out in the sun and they try to, you know, bleach it, like when people sell Gracilaria and they tell you it's from St. Lucia and it's coming, you know, off white or tan, like, and they tell you it looks like that because we bleach it. Have to put it out in the sun and they bleach it. This is This is a action. This is a thinking that comes straight from tradition. It just comes from repetition. Nobody questions what is really going on. Really doubts the process. Nobody really even thinks about it because it's been done for so long. They just think that's how to do it. Well, in Gracilaria, not Chondrus, Gracilaria, we have photosensitive materials as well. And people will tell you that they're selling you sea moss that's bleached, not actually with bleach, but just put onto, right? Where they dry it. They dry it not to the point where it's dry and able to be packaged, but they dry it to the point where the pigments leave the carrageenan. And it starts to revert to a stark white color, a more white color. It starts to head back in that direction to a clear color, because carrageenan is actually a lattice structure that's supposed to be clear. But the pigment systems in Gracilaria grant it that color, that purple pink color. Chondrus crispus as well. We have different rhodoplasts in Chondrus crispus. It's a different type of profile of pigment, though. Conjus crispus is a different, not the comparable. It's not comparable to some of these other mosses. It's
You
in a
cut out
different.
one
It's
more time on my
it's
end. You said Cronus is a different what?
Conjus crondus is a league of its own.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
different. It's in a class of its own.
yeah.
With its own.
So
Okay.
somebody asked, I'm gonna jump in real quick because there's so much we can say about Cronus, and I want to make sure and touch on a few things before we
Yeah,
can.
let's get it, bro. Let's get it. Let's
You
get it.
you already know. Somebody asked, where can they get the type of CMOS that we're talking about? You're looking at two people that are both distributors of herbal infused Cronus crispus. And speaking of herbal infused Cronus crispus, I also would like to talk about something else that you work with. But before I ask you this next question about structured water, so to answer the question to the comments, okay, um, you can go to zensmoothies.com, smoothies with an S on the end, and you can get herbal infused Cronus crispus right now. Also, you're going to want to follow the brother that's in the box right here on the screen, dropping an insurmountable amount of information with us tonight, very eloquently, because he also does different, he does custom combinations for y'all, especially depending on what you're
Oh
dealing
yeah.
going through as well too. Okay, that's something that I don't offer. You guys definitely should take advantage of that. And just in general, check out his platform and his products. He's definitely going to be active on Bigo, obviously, I would say, going forward from here. Now, just a
Yeah.
quick round of yes or no, because again, we could never do every topic we want to tonight, and we got to remember that this is just the beginning, bro, because we have
Yeah.
so much work to do together, and we can't get it all in one night. But
Yeah.
uh,
We got more. We got more coming for
but
sure.
a quick round of yes or no before we talk about structured water and then plasma really quick. Turpentine. I've heard people talk about taking this. I never, just randomly one or two or four or five people have told me they mess with turpentine. Why? What's the yes or no on turpentine and why? In like one sentence.
If you're talking about terpenes, yes. Turpentines, I'm not 100% sure about those.
But
But
terpenes, yes. Did you say
uh,
terpenes before, Ned? If you're still here, let me know. I thought I read turpentines, but you could have said terpenes. Okay, cool. Also, cacao is something that I'm big on, but I recently became aware that cacao is technically a hybrid. It's not actually alkaline.
actually, cacao is actually, you know what? I'll tell you right now. Um, Cacao is something that is full of flavonoids, it's full of antioxidants, it's healthy, it does have an alkalizing effect on the body, I do believe.
Okay.
Um, some people say that it is, yeah, it's a 7. It's actually a neutral, it's alkalizing. But in vitro, it is 5.8. In vivo, it is 7.61.
That means I told you guys that there's two ways that things register. They register just as they exist, and then they have a different register when they get inside the body and they react with the body, like we talk about that chemical affinity, right, bro? You're talking about when it gets inside of us, then it changes, right?
Yep, it's the it's alkalizing because it has the highest ORAC and total polyphenols and flavonoids and
That's why I was like, how could it be bad? When I found out
prosite.
about the ORAC, exactly, and the high, mad, crazy antioxidant rate, too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
okay, cool. So we're definitely yes
It,
on excuse me, on cacao. And then somebody mentioned cracked cell chlorella. I know we don't do chlorella. Do you know what cracked cell chlorella is?
yeah, that's chlorella that has been broken like the cell has been broken to where you can access the nutrient profiles. Like the cracked cell chlorella is something I think is a lot better than what's that stuff that people always ask me about? Uh, it's like dang, people use it. People ask me about it all the time. It comes in a blue color as well.
Plasma?
No, it's a cyanobacteria.
Oh, okay.
Chlorella. Dang, what is the other one that people always use and they put in their smoothies? I don't use it. Dr. Sabi said not to use it.
Yeah, that's why.
Um,
What? Spirulina.
it's
No,
on the
no, that's green tea.
spirulina. Yeah, it is.
Is
It
it
is
blue?
spirulina. Spirulina. It comes in blue, comes in green, doesn't it?
Okay. Okay, yeah. You're right. You're right. It does come in three colors.
Spirulina.
Yes.
Spirulina loses its composition and its structure when you take it out of its natural element. Its nutrient profile is only as good as it's in that water.
Exactly.
That's as far as what I understood. That's as far as the research I got.
Thank you, Yak.
I'm personally more of a cracked cell chloropolyas type of guy when it comes to alkalizing the blood and delivering as much oxygen as possible. Like when it comes to my cancer patients and delivering oxygen, because cancer cells are obligate anaerobic, right? They they thrive in an oxygen-free environment. So when you want to give as much oxygen to a cancer patient as possible, most of these people usually have a very, very nice, effective experience with cracked cell chlorella and nopales.
Nopales. Okay, yes.
Delivers almost a one
Look
of the
at it.
few things on the planet that has such a composition of high amounts of nitrogen containing amino acids. People heal twice as fast when they take that into their composition.
That's why
People, their
Victor is
wounds,
huge on on juicing nopales. He loves.
yeah, it offers plant-based analogs of hair, skin, nails, and teeth, and it allows. Those are the building blocks for these repairing
Would
for the actual, like when the repair process is happening on a cellular level. That's what your body needs to lay down cement and lay those
would you?
bricks.
So would you
You know?
say? So would you say that combination of cracked cell chlorella and or nopales, raw or juiced, would be the best form of chlorella that we could get probably.
Chlorophyll, yes, chlorophyll, because basically what we're talking
Chlorophyll.
about is chlorophyll
Yeah,
and oxygen.
exactly. It's true.
You
It's true.
know,
Yep. That's my answer when people bring up chlorella. I'd be like, well, is it chlorella or is it really the chlorophyll that we want? Because even though we
yeah,
were we were weighing in on what form of chlorella we would deal with, but truth be told, it's in the foods in the form of chlorophyll, and that's where we get the magnesium, the zinc, the what did you just say? Vagaris, yes. The activate that. That's for your lymphatic. No. That's with the diaphragm, I believe. No,
hmm
wait. Vagaris. That's we were covering that earlier. We were covering that earlier with the diaphragmatic breathing. Yeah, right?
yeah, okay, yeah.
So okay, cool. So that was chlorella. Right? Which
Yeah, the
again,
chlorophyll would be in the chlorella, you know.
no, the reverse. The chlorella would be in the chlorophyll. No, right?
Technically, chlorophyll is basically, a pigment. Like next to chlorophyll is next to the other pigments that give these things. You have beta carotenoids, that's yellow. Chlorophyll, that's green. betalains, and you have
It's the plant.
betalains and you have anthocyanins, which is betalains are the blues, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's helpful. Like performing
Blues and
DMT
purple.
breath work. That's why I brought up diaphragmatic
Anthocyanins.
breathing. So real quick, Vargaris form of chlorella. Um, does that ring a bell? That's not registering for me because Vargaris strain of chlorella. Yeah, what do you got for that? Does that ring a bell? Because I only know the Vargaris as far as that tool that they were talking about connecting the systems through the diaphragm.
That's a green micro in the division of chlorophyta. And where is its derivatives? Chlorella is amazing in all of its different forms. It's a great source of omega-3s, vitamin C, carotenoids, carotene, lutein, fights cell damage, cognitive stress, cognitive disease. I just really don't have I would always choose chlorella over spirulina. That's what I always had a tendency for. Like I had a person telling me about all this the benefits of spirulina, and I just told him you can get that stuff and crack some
Can't say
chlorella.
that. Pyrenoidosa. What did she say right there? Do you see that comment?
Yeah, yeah, I actually used that herb before. Let me look it up again.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for asking questions. I could have helped him fight his liver cancer. Yeah, condolences to Reese. You're absolutely right. So many of our loved ones are lost because they do not speak out about what they're going through. There are people in the community that have been, doing this work for generations. Both of us here on the screen have numerous sensei study several walks and ideologies and tools and resources. So there
Yeah,
are a
this
lot
is
of different strains. Okay, yeah. So it seems to be positive in all strains from what brother Menez is saying. But you always got to do your research and just double check it. So if you guys want to come back to us with anything in the future on it, but I'm sure there's a lot of forms of it and they all seem to have their different benefits. There's a lot of things like that. But again, we talked about the nopales and the presence in the food. And the other, it's not only in nopales, but that's just one of the top sources for you to get it. Okay, so what do we have here? We have oh wait, is that it? No.
no. This is another one.
Okay, you're so welcome.
This is one of my favorite herbs. It's called Andrographis paniculata. It's a Chinese herb, but it's actually very alkaline. They also call it the king of bitters. There's peer-reviewed Russian science that was produced in studies where they actually were able to reverse the status of patients who had AIDS with this herb. Yes, it is a hyper antioxidant herb. They call it the king of bitters because it tastes incredibly, unsufferably bitter. You could put a small pinch of it in something. It's more bitter than Tongkat Ali, bro.
Wow. Speaking of that, somebody
I got
just
it
said
from a guy named Quan. He's actually a multi-millionaire herbalist, and he travels the world. He, I'm doing some work with him as well.
somebody actually just asked us. I'm glad to hear it, bro. We got to keep building the network and access for the people. Somebody just actually said, so we
He
brought
told
up
me about it. He told me a lot about a couple herbs that nobody knew about.
a word. We got
Yeah.
we got to talk, bro.
We gonna talk about. I'm telling you that right
We
here.
gotta
We gonna
talk,
talk
bro.
about that.
Encapsulations. We're gonna we said make sure and do a big launch for your by the way, you should know to launch on this app and to properly like stream and host, you actually got to do like something called an audition, but it's super simple. You go through an agency. I just wanted you to know that within the first 2 weeks you want to do it, and before you hit level 15, you don't want people, you see how like they've been showing love tonight, supporting the live stream. You don't want to catch too much gifts before, because if you hit a certain level before doing your audition, then you can't use that account and you got to make another one, which obviously is not like a problem, but it would obviously waste some time, right? So
Right.
wanted to remind you of that. So shucks. I wanted to ask you something that was from the comments. Oh yeah, so encapsulation. We talked about how sea moss holds so much of its water, and you mentioned H3O2 earlier. Overall, okay, and yes, terpen. Okay, so he did say, before we say the encapsulation question, I'm gonna hold the finger up so we don't lose track.
Mhm.
Turpentine, 100% pure gum spirits. That was from my bro Realist Net. It was turpentine. What's does that? I mean, I've heard one or two people say turpentine, and I was like, I thought turpentine was something you use to clean stuff off of, stuff like, I don't know. I never heard of someone using it, but have you heard of someone using it? Actually, he would have to use another device once he goes past level 15. Another device? Oh my god, that's terrible. My grandmother and great grandmother used it to
What
heal
to do
folk.
right now? What's the audition though? What do you have to like? Is
So
it with the actual Bigo people?
no, it's not. It used to just be a test run of your live. Like they want to make sure you're not a creep and you have decent lighting. So like when I did my audition, which was almost a year ago, all you had to do was go live and then like, be engaging for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. But now you can actually do a 30-second video live, which is a video audition where you just submit a quick clip apparently, and you can do your audition that way. That's a new rule that changed about 3-4 months ago, and I don't know the exact details, like, but I could find out for you real easily. And oh, you still have to do the 30-minute live, or I thought you could do the 30-second video. Is that not a thing? I think my agency leader was talking. Gets rid of parasites. Yeah, the turpentine, 100% pure gum spirits. That's what they would put it in the navel to detox worms. Look, both of y'all said it at the same time. Okay, so clearly, it has some historical usage. Okay, it seems like we might be adding something new to the old school toolbox, because some of these things you don't usually see around as much in the raw form. You go to get stuff like that. From what I understand, a lot of times it's going to be a different form than what you actually want it to be. Might be contaminated, chemicalized. I mean, but if
You
you can
know,
get the pure gum 100% raw, then it sounds like that's it. Go ahead.
I'm looking at so many different things about turpentine, but one thing it says is it's toxic. It says that. Well, I'm looking at something that says turpentine is thought to only mildly be toxic. When used according to manufacturer's recommendations, it can pass the skin. Some people may develop an allergy to turpentine when exposed to it for a long time. Turpentine exposure can cause irritation, headache, dizziness, and vomit. So I guess it could be used for certain applications, but I don't know about. I've never heard of this. Uh,
Yes, it was new
and
for
it's made from resin of certain pine trees. And there's a turpentine gold oil with gum.
Okay, that sounds really interesting. Like something to has to be 100% pure gum spirits. That sounds like something really
It
worth.
it also there's a study published in July 12, 2022 about its reported anti-parasitic uses. It's reported to be useful for its anti-parasitic effect, particularly in the treatment of myiasis. Turpentine has been used experiment.
Okay, sounds like we definitely add in another backdoor piece. So, guys, I wanted to do a quick round of yes or no. It sounds like it's a yes if you know how to use it and you get the right kind. It sounds like RealistNet and World Famous know about the OG 100% pure gum spirits. I'm going to be looking into it a little bit more and, seeing the history of its usage and what other things it might be useful for. So I appreciate y'all. That's exactly what we want here on Zen Plants Green. You know what I'm saying? Nobody has all the experience and we all have something to share. Each one teach one, each one reach one. Y'all already know what time it is. I really appreciate that. This is what our ancestors used, like activated charcoal, bentonite clay. Okay, I got you. Yeah, exactly. The stuff straight from the earth in a raw form. That is what doesn't, it pulls the heavy metals and it works in affinity, in resonance with us overall. So just one or two more things for the yes no game. Some people ask me, we talked about black seed oil. Would you recommend people using it for anything in particular, or do you find that there's a better alkaline alternative for anything you would use black seed oil for, Dr. Janet Daniel?
Uh, there was a little break.
Oh, okay, Dr. Jennifer Daniels. Can you hear me now? I'll hit you one more time with that.
Yeah, I think you basically asked me what the black seed oil was safe and.
Yeah, if you would use it for anything in particular, or if you had a better alkaline alternative.
All right. Well, black seed oil is very beneficial. I think that there is a misunderstanding about it when it comes to um, the main thing people should understand about black seed oil is the the beneficial compound in black seed oil is the
It's like THQ di.
no thymoquinone. Sorry,
Yeah.
I almost it was on the tip of my tongue. As
I
soon as
was
you said THQ, I was like, oh, I'm wondering. A couple other um. It's give me a second. Sometimes
yeah, yeah, brother.
thymoquinone, right, is in the composition of black seed oil, and thymoquinone has some very interesting, very good benefits, right? Um, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant.
You cut out there. I don't know what happened to your sound. You just cut out there real quick. Thank y'all so much for rocking out with us. This is probably the latest that we've gone. With such a powerful presentation. Charcoal is in the powder form. I'm gonna ask him. I wrote down to ask him about the powder versus for other stuff like mushrooms and stuff, and also carbon activated charcoal. And then you mentioned Dr. Jennifer Daniels to look into turpentine. I appreciate you guys mentioning that. I will definitely do some more work on that. You are back. I see you. Oh no, still no sound. Still no sound. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what if you maybe want to cam down. Sometimes camming down. If you need a reset, I could cam you down and you can hop back up. Sometimes that works. Cause the app's weird when you come like if you switch audio input, if I get a phone call, my sound doesn't come back right away. Thank y'all so much for rocking out with us tonight. Thank you so much, my Midnight Warriors. Shout out to Rasta, Leo, Jeannie, Nikki, Islamu, Cubadine, Sharinda. I'm so grateful. World Famous joined us tonight. Hey Girl, Reese, Raphael, Gross, Brandy, Ned, Lily, so many risers. Griffin, welcome. Also, Say It With Love, So many of y'all. I'm so this. It feels like it's 9 a.m. It feels like the 9 a.m. crew is here. Thank y'all so much. This is some amazing life changing info. I'm loving it. I promise y'all. Oh, he's in the box waiting to come back up. I promise y'all that I was gonna pull out all the stops for the 24 days of healing, and he was someone that I was so glad had the time. Why does it say connecting? Hey, you already know. I didn't know that. That's crazy. No way. No way. Don't tell me it's still down. What changed? Did something die? Did something did like your microphone did something over there? No? Okay. Cuz it's still pitch silent. Like it's dead silent. I can't believe this. I don't know what's off. The Zen community. You already know. Ned, this is a dope info, amazing. Thank you, world famous. Thank you so much, man. Um I can't believe I can process as much of what he has said tonight as I absolutely have been able to. You know what I'm saying? I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful. I'm a student of the game, and there's so much more. The more you learn that you don't know anything, right? You know what I'm saying? So so oh no, you know what? You know what we should try? Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna go live, right? If you did you do a solo live yet? Because I can invite you to a split screen live with me, and maybe that'll reset our sound instead of having you in the box because it's not working. Did you? I don't know. All right, cool. Sounds good. All right, bet. So you go live, and then I'm gonna invite you. As soon as you go live, I'll be able to tell from my other device. All right, all right. Good stuff so far, bro. Do a solo live. I know. I don't know what's up with it. So let's switch to PK mode and see if that fixes the sound issue. Thank y'all so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate y'all. Unbelievable support. I mean, I don't just mean in taps or shares or beans or anything like that. I mean like the engagement. You guys are tapped in. You are dialed in, and I know that you appreciate this information. How you doing? Thanks for coming up, Grand Rising.
Grand Rising, hey Zan.
Hey.
If you're trying to keep him under 15, don't do the PK because you don't want him to get gifted.
I know, right? That's probably a little risky.